dealing with people who don't, and talk about how important that is.
Yeah, so I'll give you an example that happened just a couple of years ago. One of my clients who since retired, Tim Hudson, very good pitcher, had over 200 wins as a major leaguer. He was becoming a free agent at 38, coming off a shattered ankle that he had playing the Mets the year before that. And because of his history, because of his reputation, we actually had 15 offers. We narrowed it down to 4 offers. We're talking about kind of Thanksgiving time. And why is that important? Because we were dealing with it literally Erev Shabbos at the end of November. It's down to 4 teams. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. Candle lighting is about 4:30. 2 of the GMs knew me well. They knew I was an observant Jew. 2 of the GMs were newer, did not. So at 3:30, I gave everybody a heads up. Gentlemen, at 4 o'clock, we need to wrap up negotiations because at 4:30, the Sabbath comes in. I generally like to relax and get a nice shower before the Sabbath. So you have till 4 o'clock. And we start refining the deal from all 4 teams. We get to about 3:58. And I'm on the phone with Bobby Evans, the then GM of the San Francisco Giants. And I said, Bobby, we're good to go. I'm going to let the other teams know that they're out. I'm not going to tell them who he's signing with, just so they can do what they need to do without our Sabbath interfering with that. And contact me Saturday night. We'll wrap it up. He goes, no, you don't understand. I'm going to email you. We're going to do. I said, Bobby, trust me. It's all good. And I said, talk to you later. Bye. And I hung up. Right after the Sabbath, we convened. We finished the deal. I thought that was the end of the story. 2 years later, Tim Hudson's retiring. Last game against the Dodgers in San Francisco. I'm sitting in a suite, the owner's suite, with his family and one of my sons. And the owner, Larry Baer, walks over to me. He says, can we talk? I said, sure. He says, do you remember when we did that Hudson deal? I said, sure. He says, well, when Bobby Evans called me, and Bobby's not Jewish, he's one of the nicest human beings I ever met in my life. When Bobby called me and told me the story about the cutoff time, I immediately called my wife and I said, you know what? We haven't had a Sabbath dinner with the kids in years. I don't even remember when. Please tell them all to come over, have them drop their cell phones at the door, and we're going to have Sabbath dinner because we're Jews. And he said, and we did. And it was beautiful, Paul. And yes, I thought that was the end of the story. But in the 6th inning, Larry said to me, he says, Paul, can you talk to my wife for a minute? So I said, sure. So Mrs. Baer walks over. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? She goes, do you remember that Hudson contract 2 years ago? I said, yes, I remember it well. She goes, I want to thank you. I said, for what? She says, because a few years before that, and I don't remember if it was her mother or her father, I said, a few years before that, one of my parents passed away. And nobody has said Kaddish. On the Yort site, nobody's lit a candle. She says, now we don't miss a Yort site. We say Kaddish. We're Jews. Thank you for reminding us who we are. So that's a story literally just a couple of years ago. One other quick story as it relates to that. I was negotiating a trade for Jim Edmonds, player who retired about a decade ago. 8-time Gold Glove winner, multi-time All-Star. It was toward the end of his career. Also a Friday afternoon negotiation, yes. And it's getting down to the wire. There's 4 teams involved. And Jimmy was on the conference call because he was older. He wanted to be part of the negotiations. And I said, very similar to the other thing, I said, guys, we got about a half hour to wrap this up because the Sabbath is coming and I'm going to be out of pocket. And one of the GMs, who I will leave nameless, said, don't bring your Sabbath here. We're going to do the deal the way we want to do the deal. And then Jim Edmonds piped in. And he said, gentlemen, until there are 3 stars out tomorrow night, negotiations are on hold. Have a good evening. And that was the end of it. And we wrapped up the trade to where he wanted to go. So those are just 2 quick instances of really, if you handle it with dignity and respect, it comes back to you in a big, beautiful way.